All right, it's very sunny, January 31st, and I'm trying again for the barred owl, who hasn't been super cooperative, but I know where he lives, so I'm gonna check on him again. Well, first I got distracted by a possum on the river ice. They're actually a welcome sight because they can eat up to 5,000 ticks in a single summer. In the winter, they scavenge for dead animals or garbage or pet food. I'm sure a barred owl would eat a possum. Alright, I just seen the owl flying up the hill right where I came in. He's flying again. He's going a little bit more than a couple hundred yards away. Alright, he's up in a tree, probably 100 yards, but it's in some kind of thick stuff. Kind of looking like he might be looking for a place to go. As you can see, a pair of barred owls lives along the Crow River. They can maintain a territory of up to a square mile, but they live their entire lives in that space without migrating, so you'd think it'd be easy to find them. It kind of is, but they often fly before you see them. If you stay about 100 yards away and they are satisfied with how high their perch is, they will let you get a picture. It took several trips after work before I got a decent photo. Meanwhile, it's nesting season for the great horned owl. They can also be flighty and tough to find, but they will often nest in neighborhoods and parks. Although they are hard to spot, the male is often in his favorite tree nearby the nest. They usually spend their days sleeping and somewhat guarding the nest site from before incubation until after fledging. This guy has been in the same tree every day until about 5 o'clock when he flies across the road. Then the male and female do some hooting, and then he goes off to hunt for the night. Their wingspan can be up to 5 feet, and they can be over 2 feet tall, but they only weigh 3 pounds. However, they can lift prey weighing up to 15 pounds. They need to eat 11 mice each night, but I'm guessing they're living off rabbits in our neighborhood. This nest is a half a mile from our house, but the owl often hunts near our pond just after dark. Last year, one of the owlets came down too early, and a rescue center had to come and put him back in the nest. But then he came right back down. Here is a picture of the bird on someone's woodpile. This was on April 5th last year, so we will look for babies with a similar timing this year. Usually once the babies fledge, they like to keep them hidden until they can fly. When the nest is right on a boulevard up against people's backyard, that is difficult. But the neighborhood might provide some protection too. One of the reasons they nest so early is to give the babies a chance to get big enough to find food on their own and fend for themselves by next winter. The Mississippi River in Otsego is open, at least in part, all winter. It's home to robins, bluebirds, and swans, all who chose not to migrate. Just downstream, we even had a mute swan. I got a few photos showing its reddish-orange bill. but they were too grainy to include in this video, so instead you get footage of robins wishing they could find worms along the riverbank. Where you find moving water in winter, you can often find robins, and another thrush, bluebirds. In winter, bluebirds can be in flocks of 10, but on this day I actually saw about 20 in one tree. I wasn't able to get a picture of them filling the tree, but it was cool to see. They were flying down to the ice and the edge of the river and then back to the trees. There were a few cedar waxwings mixed in, which have been hard to find this winter. This one was actually my first of the year. There are eagles nesting all along the Mississippi. Another eagle flew through the territory of this nesting pair and promptly triggered the eagle alarm call and a short chase. Kaposha Landing in St. Paul will regularly have 100 eagles posted on winter days. I've seen 20 in the same tree before, but as we head through February, they start to get more territorial. One day in late February, we were further south in the Mississippi near Red Wing, watching the eagles. I've seen a lot of these pair bonding displays where the eagles soar high in thermals with mirroring turns and wing beats with one bird leading and the other matching. I've been waiting for the talon locking and tumbling, which I've never seen. Apparently, these synchronized flights are the normal courtship routine, and long-established pairs often skip the whole talon locking freefall thing. The internet comforts me that most experienced eagle watchers never see this in their lifetime. It happens high and fast, usually with newly paired young adults on sunny, cold days in February with good thermals. Unfortunately, 70% of Minnesota winter days are cloudy. Now that incubation is starting, courtship is about done. One thing eagles do all year is catch fish. They prefer to catch live fish, but they are opportunistic scavengers, so they don't mind grabbing a disgusting floating dead carp for a meal. In late winter and early spring, dead fish is a common meal. This guy moved over to a birch tree to eat his meal where other eagles wouldn't bother him. He wanted to keep that fish in his talon in case he needed to make a quick escape, but it's hard to maneuver on a slippery tree with a slippery fish in one of your talons. A few Eurasian tree sparrows have been spotted in Minnesota this winter. They have been hanging out with the house sparrows, a similar-looking species, near feeders. Their range seems to be expanding from St. Louis, where they were introduced in the 1870s. In Dakota County, we also seen and heard a large flock of goldfinch. The males are about to molt and lose their winter plumage for the brilliant yellow that they don during breeding season. Their beak will also change color from dark to bright orange. They are the only finch that molts in the spring and fall. While goldfinch love thistle seed, in late winter you can find them pulling at birch and alder catkins. They also are known to drink maple sap once it starts flowing. Cardinals are non-migratory, but they might move a county or two south in winter if they're not finding good habitat. I think this has happened this year, as I just have not ran into them in the woods. I'm starting to hear and see them more now, so I think they are making their way back north in late February. They love to be in the thick stuff, but you can always hear their call. You can tell this is a muskrat, and not the much larger beaver, by its skinny tail. They are always busy stirring up the bottom as soon as the ice starts to break free. Swans also spend a lot of effort stirring up the bottom so they can tip up and eat whatever they have dislodged. You can also find goldeneye in massive numbers with each visit and hear the sound of their whistling wings moving up and down the river. This winter we've had many opportunities to see redheads on small ponds where patches of open water are. This small pond in Hastings had at least 15 of them mixed in with the mallards. We're excited for waterfowl to start returning, as we have recently learned a few tricks that should help our photography. They have such good vision that they always stay far away, but there are ways to sneak up on them and get at eye level. Eye level is key. Most of our waterfowl pictures have been looking down, which doesn't give a good background or depth perception. Also, the water looks best early morning at golden hour on calm days. So we'll see if we can put these things into practice in a future video. As you saw at the start of this video, we spent most of the winter looking for owls. Red and gray morph screech owls made almost daily appearances in Minneapolis. Both preferred tree cavities that were a little too high for good photos, like this one we got back in December. Most of our long-ear photos have been hiding inside a Colorado spruce, not hanging out in the open, like this one I seen in December. And then there's the saw-whet. We were spoiled finding this one in November. We have spent a lot of time looking for this bird in 2026 in places where they've been posted along the Mississippi. We have checked every cedar tree. We have found feathers and fur from birds and rodents they have presumably killed. We have found their pellets under former roosting spots. But so far, no sowits. This winter has not provided any great grays or boreal owls to find either. But there has been plenty of opportunities for the snowy owl, the northern hawk owl, and the short-eared owl. As March arrives, it's been another great winter of birding, with a spring break trip and spring migration to look forward to.